Welcome back, investors, and just all around crypto enthusiasts, right? We're going to talk a little bit about stocks and some trading today. First off, I want to show you what my HODL wallet looks like, and let me add that right now. Boom. Okay, so this is just my crypto, my biggest one. Like I said, I've had some smaller ones, but I've decided I'm going to show the majority of it through this stuff so that we can see what it's going on. You guys know exactly what I do. So there's $475,000 currently in that account, primarily Bitcoin, split a little bit with Ethereum as well. I stake actually all of my Ethereum. So, that's fun fact. I live by the whole ideology of the 3% rule. So my investing philosophy throughout my career as a financial advisor was the 3% rule, meaning if you have 3% return with dividends, could be staking, whatever, you could live off of that. So arbitrarily, you find out what your goal is. Mine is around $2 million, so that every year, I have around 70-ish to $100,000 of assets that I could spend. And that's basically my FU money. So anyone says, Johnny, you need to do this. Johnny, you need to do that. I go, F you. I got time, because that's the one thing that is the most valuable is time. Money is just an asset. And that's what this channel is here to help grow, is just that. So here, if I get into the trading aspect, because I'm starting off with some small stuff. I showed you the big, large numbers, but we're going to do a little bit of trading live here. And let me get, I don't want the entire screen here. Boom. Okay. So I'm using ZoomX, and Friday, I told you guys I had around $600 in assets in here, because this has been the goal for trying to turn $100 into 10,000 and plus, which we can definitely do. I've done it before, and we're entering a bull cycle, but right now, where are we going? So currently I have an Ethereum trade that is up 64 US dollars. I'm only using $257 worth of margin, which is almost 50% of the account, which is really risky. Same thing with the leverage that I got going here. That adds up to about 3 Ethereum. My price target on these bad boys is I'd love to see this guy get to 3,700, but we might see some stoppage right around the 3,300. But here is a nice descending triangle, and we have the breakout of that descending triangle, which the price target typically for something like this is where I have it, right? Trying to get to that 3,700, but this is going to 4,000. So is this going to happen in the next few days? Is it going to happen in the next month or so? Because we have the big sell in May and go away, but we have decent news coming from the feds. And here, let me show that as well. Honestly, I need to just do this on a indifferent. Yeah, move that sucker over. So the feds, the probability of a rate cut is 96%. And we're looking at potentially 2 rate cuts for the end of the year. So the first one is going to be middle of June, end of June-ish, what is that, June 10th, 15th or so. This is really where I feel big money is going to start pumping up the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum and everything in underneath the realm of assets, stocks, you name it, right? Because money is going to become cheaper to borrow. And what does big hedge funds and them do? They don't just have cash that is debt free. I mean, the rich, that's the problem I have with how kids are raised and how we all learn. We all learn by the Dave Ramsey bullshit that, hey, you need to sell everything, and you need to live a very fickle life, and you need to pay off all your credit cards. You can't build credit. You need to pay off your mortgage. And I'm telling you, that's not how the big wigs run. The Jeff Bezos, the Mark Zuckerbergs, these big wigs, they have the most amount of debt than anyone else. Yes, their companies bring in billions of dollars. However, they have billions of dollars worth of debt. Apple, yeah, they do have, around $1 billion in cash flow, but they also have a huge debt balance. And why is that? Because if you take money out of an asset or borrow against it, you're not paying taxes because it's debt. That's how the whole argument with Trump and whatnot, he doesn't pay any taxes. It's because he's borrowing against his assets. It's considered debt. He doesn't have to add it to his cost basis or his income. Therefore, he's in a very low tax bracket. So my point with this stuff is we're going to have cheaper money so that they're going to put into the market and pump everything up. So here, let me look back at Bitcoin. Because we are relatively right at a golden pocket area here, and I just need to move it over here. Boom, boom, boom. So here's Ethereum. Yeah, I was up about $100. You can see that my actual realized loss is around $7 right now, which is pretty high, but that's just because that's the cost of opening the order and holding, $9,000 worth of value for only borrowing 200, right? So that's what you have to pay attention to when you're leverage trading. And it's something that I can help teach you guys, is that it costs money to open the orders and close the orders, right? So even if I put this at a stop loss of a break even, which I do have a stop loss, but I have it below right around here, we can see on the screen where that stop loss is. Because if we break down below that, well, the trend is going to go down, and I will potentially try to pick something up right around the 2,800-ish mark. We will see, because if that doesn't hold, man, the only option left here is 26, really, is the catching part. And that is honestly goes further than that. Where I don't have a rectangle. Not using just TradingView, but just using just the platform is sometimes a little difficult. But ZoomX does a really good job, because you're able to trade using technical analysis, which is huge. You're kind of going in blind if you don't have any technical analysis here. But here, I'll zoom in a little bit more if that breaks down. But my point is, if I move this guy to break even, which would give me, gosh, what, at $15 wiggle room here, well, now $13 wiggle room, we can see that this might end up start going negative here, which is not good. I will lose out at least on $7, probably more than that, more like $10 to $15, because I open the trade and then also closing the trade. So here, let's zoom in and see what is actually happening currently on the price. Oh, hey, look, I had fib going. All right, that's not a good sign too. This is a shooting star candle, which is showing that, hey, we had the price move up to 3,135, and now we are starting to go down. But what's interesting is we've got somewhat of a trend line coming here, which if we break below this, it's never good. But you can see we can touch and keep going, and that's going to be right around a little bit past my entry here, which isn't a horrible thing. But if I'm zooming in on this guy, okay, yep, same thing on the 4 hour. That is a shooting star, which is a reversal candle. This is telling me that this guy's probably potentially going down, and I may want to take my profits right now, which is kind of a bummer. But here, I'll continue to talk about what I'm talking about before I actually make that decision. But this is looking daunting, right? Because I told you that my price target is here. Let me get rid of this line. Jesus. Is that going on? Oh, and by the way, the GME video that I made on Friday. Everyone hates it, and I honestly, I'm sorry for the people that continue to hold that worthless asset. As I like video games as much as the next guy, but trying to pray for that sucker to just go on is pure gambling, and we're not in the realm of gambling. We're in the realm of making money. And I could have made close to $100 when I opened the stream here, because I was up. This guy was up to like 3,135, and now it seems to be going down because we're showing big signs of weakness. The RSI is still in bullish territory, though. Still in bullish territory, which is kind of, yeah, okay. Stochastics. Is it here? Dun, dun, dun. Let's open that guy up. And actually, I want to save that one on here. This is one of my favorite, because it's an oscillator that works kind of like MACD and RSI, but it's just a little bit faster pace, faster moving. And it's 20 is oversold, 80 is overbought. So this all looks fairly decent to me. We don't have a reversal as of yet on that one. So that is not telling me anything as far as a sell signal here. And I'm not a big guy of using indicators as far as market cipher and things of that nature. They get convoluted, and they get to the point where there's just too much going on here. All right, we got the signal line that crossed above, and the histogram is showing some downwards pressure, because market cipher just kind of adds all of them together, but it just makes things incredibly confusing here. So, man, my consensus is telling me that I want to buy more. But hey, this might turn into a spinning top, which is just an indecision in the channel. So I'm going to leave it open for a little bit, because at least on the 1 hour here, we've got another 40 minutes before this guy closes. But if it ends up being that shooting star, I will more than likely have to get out of the trade. Okay, load for me, guy. Yeah, there we go. The 4 hour could potentially turn into that as well. And on the bottom of the 4 hour is, gosh, sort of at my break even. So I will lose the trade, and I'll lose like $15 in the account. But here, I've talked enough about that. Told you that we have the Fed meeting that is coming up here, which is going good. We've got somewhat of a same shooting star on Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin's stochastics has gone up to almost oversold. If we're looking at the channel here that I have on the 4 hour, and I've talked to you guys of positions of where I bought to build this up to about $600 right now, was here. I went on, gosh, what was it? Around the blockchain a little while ago, and those guys were giving me a hard time as far as that, hey, this thing is going to 55 or whatever. And, I was like, nah, it's looking like it's gonna bounce. And that's what it did. And now we hovered above here. We have broken out. The daily is looking strong. The daily is looking real strong here, which is definitely telling some mixed signals for sure. Because, okay, honestly, this to me looks like we're somewhat breaking out. And what is this here? 67,300. Gosh. I almost feel like I'm going to open up a Bitcoin trade here. And here, let's look on the 1 hour. All right. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to mark it in, because I want to do this live. So here, what is this guy at? This is at 67,280. All right. I need to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm isolated at 59x. Sure. Let's play with some big money here. Dun, dun, dun. So I've got available of, here, I need market price. I've got available of $323 in this small account. As of right now, I showed you guys the bigger account, but again, we are trying to turn a little bit amount of money into some larger profits for sure. The question is, are we going to be able to bust above this 68. Okay, here. No, before I enter this, what am I looking at? We've broken out. I see that we have a strong candle because really on the daily, where's this next area of potential going? If we can break through this guy, it is going to relatively 70. Okay. So 70 should be close to my price target here. All right. Dun, dun, dun. I don't want to lose everything if it goes wrong. So I'm going to risk about $100, which is going to be opening up about $5,000 worth. And my stop loss is, we're at 67. So let's go 67. Gosh, 200 is going to be losing 30 of it because we're booming. Here, let me zoom in again. Where does that look like I could hold on to this guy? Nah, that's actually 65. Okay, I'm putting stuff in too close as far as risk versus reward here, because I want this to not be complete reversal and not have anything. So it's really 66.5 on the hourly is what I'm looking at. Okay, I want to do by price. And you don't put in even numbers there. So this is essentially the entire lot of what it is for market ordering in here. And you could potentially get a little bit better price, but I'm going for it. So we're going to confirm, boom. And here we go. That cost me $3 to enter the market, right? I am currently in barely any profit on that guy. I've told you my price target is around the 67,000, not 67,000, 70,000. So for there, we've got inflation, which is easing. I saw on the news that retail cars are going down in price, which is good too. And, you know, that's another issue. Okay, so I'm up $3 right now. This is all looking good. The Ethereum trade is looking good. Got 643, so that's about $40 more than what we did on the last live stream. And I'm going to hold on to this guy. But I guess I will probably end with talking just briefly about where people are currently. Okay, people have less money. So I believe that we are in a downward trend, pretty much at the bottom of what the economy is doing. We have the election coming up, the Bitcoin halving just happened in June, potentially the ETF of Ethereum. So there's lots of good news happening. We are been in a stagnant bear market for a while. The NASDAQ hit $40,000. The S&P 500 hit $5,000. Like, this is all very bullish sentiment. And big money is marking in price reductions on money with interest rates, which is huge. So I see us as a trend is definitely changing. So here, let's look back at, and let's zoom out. Okay. Let me just look at the weekly and see where we are going. Okay. The trend has been changing. And what I mean by that is here's this downward trend. Okay. But now over the last week, we are moving to a V-shaped bottom, right? Where we're just going to continue to climb. And now I'm going to play a different game where you've been doing really well the last 2 months if you've been shorting. But I believe as of right now, there is a change happening where we're not going to be shorting as often. We're going to be going long. And yeah, there's probably going to be assets like GME and Dogecoin and Pepe and all these things that are going to run off of this bullish sentiment. And it's not really goes against, it doesn't really go with fundamentals on what the valuation is of certain assets. Like for me, Bitcoin is incredibly valuable and it is way below its fair market value, right? Truthfully, I believe Bitcoin is in that $1 million range. And so the asset is trying to accumulate more of that. And Ethereum, I believe, is potentially a coin that's worth 10 to 20,000. So it being here around what is it, $3,100 is incredibly cheap. So we're going to trade that, and I'm going to continue to do this live so that you guys can see how this account grows and how, my HODL wallet grows. And, maybe I'll show you some more of the stock stuff as well. But here, if Ethereum follows the same thing, right? So Ethereum is now breaking out of this descending triangle, and now we're entering this upward movement, which is all very good, right? The stochastics, we've almost been oversold. This guy is in need for a bounce, and it all happens with the economy. So this is looking good. I'm back up to about $70 in there. Now we're at 654 with the account. I've told you where my price targets are for Ethereum and Bitcoin. So as always, guys, this is Johnny Crypto. I'm here to help you guys make some money.